According to the Centers for Disease Control, the recent coronavirus outbreak is a global pandemic at the present time, but preparations are underway to attack this threat. The coronaviruses are a large family of viruses that are common in people and many different species of animals. Pharmacist Dr. Timothy Tyler at Desert Regional Medical Center explains what a flu pandemic is and talks about the current coronavirus.
A flu pandemic, you have high morbidity, meaning sickness, and high mortality, high death rate. And it's a global pandemic where it's encompassing the globe. We're used to flus kind of being seasonal. And while it's flu season here, it may not be flu season on the other side of the planet, but it's moving in kind of a wave. And in fact, the CDC, the Centers for Disease Control, when they put their rocket scientists together and come up with prognostication of what the next flu season is, they're basing it on what's going on the other side of the planet right now. And so they have prediction models, and so we think this time it's going to have a little of this, a pinch of that, and our vaccines will try and best guess ourselves to pre-vaccinate, because the amount of time it takes to make a vaccine is about an 18-month lead time. So you've got to kind of know ahead of time what you're fighting, or you got to do your best guess, and that's how we've always handled it. With the pandemic, it's where a mutation occurs, something slips out of the animal population and into the human. Many times diseases that cross, various animals won't cross into human population. We have one that has done that with the coronavirus. It's a fairly unique looking virus, although there are many of them. This is one that's fairly virulent. We don't have a real good idea of how to manage it, because while it's not deathly, like, you get it, you're dead, that it's not that. It's a little worse than the flus that we've had in the past. And the big problem is containment, because you don't show symptoms for a very long time. Originally, we were saying fairly comfortable with a 2-week incubation period. You quarantine people for 2 weeks, we'll let them out. That may have been a good guess, but that may not be 100%. So you may have somebody that's been exposed that's now exposing everyone else because they don't have any symptoms. So in China, we know that it's a totalitarian regime. Information may not be terribly great coming out. They can actually lock down communities with no due process, no worries. And so we do know that if there's a good chance for containment, that they'll probably contain it. We don't know, is this going to be enough? In China, everyone was told, it's Chinese New Year, go home, we're closing the factories, you don't go to movie theaters, you don't do anything. You don't even go out and get food. In places like Italy, Italians have enough food to last a day or two. They go out to the market, they're social, that's part of their culture. So one of the reasons we're seeing some early outbreaks in Italy makes me think, well, culturally that kind of jives. In the UK, they have small fridges, they have very few freezers. Well, Italy has even less freezers. So again, they don't have food storage. Their idea is fresh food. That's why they're so healthy. But that also may be their downfall, because again, in a community where you continually have contact, you will probably come across someone who is asymptomatic, but still a carrier. At this point, I think there's a decent chance it burns out. Should we be prepared? Yes. Should people have enough food so that if they were quarantined and they couldn't go to the store for 2 weeks, would they starve? Assuming the municipal water supply holds and you've got tap water, I think you're fine. The idea is you want to have a plan. In the Chinese population, we know they have a lot of air pollution and smog. They're breathing air that's nasty. It's like Mexico City has high pollution. A lot of urban cities have a lot of pollution. So that's already getting their lungs a little more compromised. Plus, a lot of people in China smoke. Their pulmonary systems against the US are probably at worst. So when we see them getting infected with pneumonic, breathable air, I tend to think the US would do better. We do have geriatric people who would be at more at risk, or immunocompromised are going to be more at risk. The super young, the super old, the super sick. But by and large, the average American who doesn't smoke, who doesn't have pulmonary issues, is probably going to be in better shape than the average case that we've seen presented so far. That's a theory. We're a very open society. It would be very hard to effectively contain us.